All right, everybody. Welcome to our first Judicial Candidate Forum. I'm Jori Spangler. I am the president of SNAWA, and I'm having some bandwidth issues thanks to Cox's upgrade in my neighborhood. So I am going to turn this over to Alexis Brown because I understand I might be cutting in and out. But I want to thank everybody for joining us at our first virtual candidate forum.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our very first candidate forum. I am so excited that everyone is here today. And thank you, Jori, for turning it over. Thank you for all of our candidates. Today we have candidates from Justice of the Supreme Court Seat D, Court of Appeals Judge Department 3, and District Court Departments 1, 2, 3, and 4. So thank you for everyone for coming out today. Thank you to our Nevada judges, Alex and Brittany Falcone of our Nevada judges, for broadcasting our event today on YouTube and on their Facebook page. Thank you to everyone who registered and who is watching live on YouTube and those sorts of things. I did want to make sure that, of course, Jori is our president. Thank you, Jori, for being here. We also have other members of our board here, and that includes Stephanie Zinna, who is not showing her video. We've got Pam Jones, who is our treasurer. We also have Dee Sol, who is on our board as well, present here with us today. So thank you guys all for coming. And also we want to highlight our sponsors. The sponsors of SNAWA are several of them. We love our Nevada State Bank, which will pop up there. We also have Northwestern Mutual is one of our sponsors. Worldwide Litigation, Christina Carl, Worldwide Litigation, and then also we have the executives as well. So we appreciate all of their support. And yeah, we appreciate everyone coming. So today's ground rules, we've got ground rules the candidates know, but we'll make sure everyone knows. The candidates get 4 minutes. That's it. We've got 4 minutes to go ahead and do their speaking, and then we'll move on. Make sure, and then at the end, we will do questions. Before we get to that, I do want to make sure everyone knows about what we've got going on at SNAWA. We've got, of course, things coming up. We've got more candidate forums every Thursday this month of October. Every Thursday at lunchtime, noon to 1:30, we have candidate forums. We're trying to get every single department that is contested in the general election. There's so many this year. So we want to make sure that everyone hears about all of our candidates. So make sure you get to those. On October 21st, there will be a SNAWA virtual paint party. So we need you to register for that. There's a link on the Facebook page, and it's going out as well on all the SNAWA email blasts to make sure you register for our paint party by the 16th of October. So that way you can get your paint kits from Monet Your Way. That's Worldwide Litigation is sponsoring that event for us. So thank you to Christina Carl and to Monet Your Way for providing us the paint kits. And then also we have coming up on the 17th of November, our large event, our primary event of the year is the Miriam Shearing Gala, where we're raising funds for scholarships for women attorneys at UNLV at Boyd Law School. So at this point, if you want to, you can purchase an ad, you purchase a tribute ad. This year, we are honoring Judge Johnny B. Rawlinson. She is a Ninth Circuit judge, came out of Nevada and was appointed to the Ninth Circuit by Harry Reid. And I believe it was Bill Clinton was president at the time. So if you would like to participate in that, if you'd like to donate any items, we're looking for silent auction items, rounds of golf, stays at hotels, any of those kinds of things, donations. We can also just take your money and buy something ourselves. So if you want to do any of that, please contact Shannon Splain. She is the one that can help you. Her information hopefully will go up in the chat box, but she can be reached at splain@lgclawoffice.com. Her office number is 702-257-1997. If you have any interest in sponsoring the gala or donating something, please get in touch with us so that you can participate. I think that's all of our announcements.
Other than we really want to thank Alexander Falcone from our Nevada judges, yes, who is helping us out with this and is recording and will be editing. And this will be all up on their Facebook page. And I'm not sure what other outlets it's going to be on, but everything that we're doing today will be available once it gets edited. So we really want to thank him for helping us out with this. So thank you.
Wave to the audience. Yes, no, really, we do. I mean, very much appreciate our Nevada judges for coming on board with us and helping us with this. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and we will get into our very first candidate, which is, give me one second here, which is, of course, for Justice of the Supreme Court CD. We will start with Mr. Fumo here. Okay, and let me just start my timer here and go ahead and go, Mr. Fumo.
Thank you, everybody, for having me. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for allowing us to go first. I have another commitment at 12:30, so if I log off, don't think me rude. My name is Ozzie Fumo. I'm running for Nevada State Supreme Court CD. I've lived in Nevada for 45 years. I've been a practicing attorney for the last 24 years. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, raised my children here. My grandchildren are being raised here. I'm an AV rated attorney by Martindale-Hubbell. I'm a member of Super Lawyers, member of Best Lawyers. I have the experience for this job because I've practiced in all areas that the Nevada State Supreme Court will see. I practice family law, I practice juvenile law, practice civil litigation, business litigation, and my area of expertise is criminal defense work. I've argued every kind of case. I've argued all the way. I've filed briefs to the Nevada State Supreme Court. I have argued in front of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. I teach law at Boyd Law School. I teach trial advocacy. I teach opening statements and closing arguments, and I teach pretrial litigation. I spent the last 2 sessions at the Nevada State Legislature, where I've done some very significant bipartisan law, which had bills passed by both governors. In my first session in 2017, I expanded the jury pools in Nevada. It was Assembly Bill 207. And prior to that time, we would select jurors by DMV records and NV Energy records. And I noticed after 2008, we had the same people complaining that they were called for jury duty over and over, and their significant others or other family members were not. I looked into it and found out the way we picked it systematically excluded minorities because a lot of minorities live in the same household, a lot of lower income apartments, you get the power paid with that. And so I expanded it into voter registration and unemployment, and that was signed into law by Governor Sandoval. Today is 1 October. It's a very sad day in Nevada, something that everybody lives with. Everybody has had something as affected by it in one way or the other. I had a constituent, Brooklyn Moeller, who was shot to death because her father, a friend's father, kept a loaded gun in a cabinet where he also kept the Disney glasses, and it was loaded and chambered. And my constituent, Brooklyn Moeller, was over at this other person's house and was shot to death. I met her parents in 2015, and when they told me about the case, I wanted to do something about it. So I worked across both sides of the aisle and passed legislation that Governor Sisolak signed into law that if you own a gun and you know that children are in the area or could have access to it, you must lock it up. I worked with the NRA on this. I worked with both sides of the aisle on this, and everybody agreed that we want child access prevention and safety under the law. And I was proud to have that signed into law by Governor Sisolak. So I've done things to help the community. And at the Supreme Court, you're going to have this academic background. You're going to have understand what is legislative intent. I've been at the legislature. I've been in the room. I understand what that is. And I've passed significant legislation to make Nevada a better place. I also have judicial experience. In 2013, I was appointed by the Clark County Commission to be a hearing master for the Police Fatality Fact-Finding Review Board. Every year in Nevada, we have police shootings, and every year they go to the Police Fatality Fact-Finding Review Board, and I am one of the judicial referees for that. In 2015, I was appointed by the Justice Court to be a judicial referee or judge pro tem in their courts, adjudicating other offenses. I have the endorsements of the court marshals who are in the courts every day, see me practice. I have the endorsements of the court staff personnel, the district attorney court staff personnel, and the public defender court staff personnel, nurses, firefighters, first responders, AFL-CIO, Culinary Union, and many others. You can learn more about me on my website, www.ozziefumo.com. Thank you very much.
That was perfect. Almost 4 minutes, just shy of it. Great job. That's very much like a lawyer to get to right at 4 minutes. Thank you so much, Ozzie. If anybody has questions for Ozzie Fumo about his candidacy, please put them in the chat box and we will get to them afterwards. So our next up for Justice of the Supreme Court CD is the Honorable Douglas Herndon. Good afternoon, Judge. Let me go ahead and give you your time. Are you ready? Go ahead and start.
All right. It is a somber day today on October 1st, but I thank you all very much for inviting me to speak here today and for taking the time to appear here yourselves to hear what we have to say. I'm Judge Douglas Herndon. I've been a district court judge for 15 years. Prior to that, I started in the district attorney's office. The first year that I was there, I was an appellate law clerk. So I spent that entire year reviewing the record of appeal on cases before the appellate courts and authoring appellate briefs to the Nevada and the United States Supreme Court. Actually argued my first case to the Nevada Supreme Court when I was still a law clerk, had passed the bar, but hadn't yet started as an attorney. Thereafter, I had a 13-year career in the district attorney's office where I ran the special victims unit. So I specialized in the prosecution of cases involving the physical and sexual abuse and murder of women and children, tried approximately 75 jury trials, and
I'm
argued
listening
on
to my
average
work
2 or
meeting.
3 times a year to the Nevada Supreme Court.
Okay.
Also during that time, I authored legislation which was enacted into law in our state and was fortunate to have numerous cases become published opinions which helped change law in our state as well. In 2005, I was appointed to the bench by Governor Gwynn. During my 15 years as a judge, I've heard every type of complicated civil and criminal case that our court system sees. I've been involved in the court administration for 11 years as a chief judge, first running the criminal division. And then in 2017, I created our court's homicide case team and served as the chief of that for 3 years. I have also, over the last 15 years, served on numerous statewide commissions working with the justices of the Supreme Court to improve justice in our state in both the civil and criminal side of things. I'm one of the only judges, if not the only judge, that's presided over trials in northern and southern Nevada, as I was appointed a number of years ago to preside over a homicide trial in Washoe County involving a gentleman, Darren Mack, who had murdered his wife and shot the family court judge that was presiding over their divorce. I've consistently been one of the top judges in terms of time spent hearing trials. My first year on the bench, I tried 31 cases. Throughout my 15 years, I've tried about 290 trials. About 100 of those have been civil and about 190 of those have been criminal. I've consistently, over the last 15 years, been one of the highest rated judges in the attorney surveys that you all do, which I'm very blessed. Last year, in fact, I had the highest performance score that was awarded in the civil criminal district court. Throughout my time on the bench and throughout this election more particularly, I've enjoyed the support of law enforcement agencies all across our state, including the elected sheriffs and district attorneys, not only in our bigger counties like Clark and Washoe, but throughout our rural counties as well. I've also enjoyed bipartisan support from political and community leaders like Governor Brian Sandoval, former Attorney General Frankie Sue Del Papa, Elaine Wynn, and the retired Chief Justice of the Nevada Supreme Court, William Maupin. My wife and I have been here in Nevada for about 30 years. We met in Texas 34 years ago in college. I went to law school in Virginia and she worked in Washington, D.C. for her congressman. And then we settled here in Nevada, raised our 2 daughters here. Our oldest, Caitlin, just graduated from college and is starting her master's program. And my youngest, Emily Grace, is a sophomore in college this year. We've always tried to be involved in various community organizations and teach our kids the importance of public service and community service. My wife's on the board of Girl Scouts of Southern Nevada and has been involved with the National Charity League and the Shade Tree Shelter, among others. And I've enjoyed a 23-year career teaching and being involved with the Rape Crisis Center. Probably most passionate, however, about a mock trial program I started for grade and middle school children a little over a decade ago to teach them about our justice system, and they come in and try cases that I write for them. We've expanded that out throughout Clark County into California and Virginia as well. So thank you all very much for your time.
That's our time. Thank you so much, Judge. We'll go ahead and appreciate that. Again, if there are, looks like there are some comments going on. Thank you guys for that. We'll go ahead and move on to Court of Appeals Judge Department 3. First up, we have Judge Bonnie Bulla. We will play her video. Good afternoon, Judge. Thanks for coming and being here. We'll go ahead and get you started now.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I know it's October 1st and it's challenging for many people individually as well as for our community, but it's wonderful that we can all be here together today. This November, I'm running to retain my seat on the Nevada Court of Appeals. And what that means is that I'm running to be able to continue to complete the term the governor appointed me to early last year. This is a statewide race, and I am again seeking to complete my term. Nevada has been my home for 33 years. I moved here in 1987 after I graduated from Arizona State University College of Law. I took and passed the Nevada bar examination that same year. I spent my first 19 years in private practice handling complex litigation, including medical malpractice cases. I am AV rated by Martindale-Hubbell. In 2007, I was selected by the judges of the 8th Judicial District Court to be the Discovery Commissioner for Clark County. In this position, I was typically on the bench 2 to 3 days a week, handling very complex pretrial matters. I served as Discovery Commissioner for 12 years, and during that time, settled thousands of pretrial discovery disputes. Early last year, having gone through the judicial selection process, I was appointed to the Nevada Court of Appeals by the governor. I replaced Justice Silver, who was elected to the Nevada Supreme Court. Since that time, I have been on the court for a little over a year and a half, and we've handled a variety of different types of cases, criminal, civil, and family law matters. Being a judge on the Nevada Court of Appeals is challenging. It requires experience, hard work, and dedication to the law. I am an experienced decision maker, first as the Discovery Commissioner, handling complex pretrial disputes in a wide variety of civil cases, just about every type of civil case you can imagine, and then on the Nevada Court of Appeals. I work very hard on the Nevada Court of Appeals, but I do not work alone. I have 2 colleagues. We are a collaborative court. The last fiscal year, we resolved 1,081 appeals. Of that number, the Nevada Supreme Court took approximately 1% on a petition for judicial review. So not only do we work hard together, we work effectively. Finally, I am committed to applying the law fairly and impartially and looking at each case on its own merits. To find out more about me and my various endorsements, please feel free to check out my website, judgebonniebulla.com. Thank you again to SNAWA for allowing us all to be here today. And I would really appreciate your vote and support this November so I can continue to serve on the Nevada Court of Appeals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge Bulla. I appreciate that. It looks like there is a second candidate for Court of Appeals, Judge Department 3. So that is Susan Bush. However, I do not see that Susan Bush is present. If she is, please unmute so we can make sure you get your time. Don't think she's present. Okay, so the next one we'll move on to our district court department. So we've got district court departments 1, 2, 3, and 4 today. Our first up is district court department 1. And all right, so Jacob Villani is our first candidate for district court department 1. So we'll go ahead and Jacob, we will give you your time starting now.
All right, thank you very much for the time. My name is Jacob Villani. I'm running to replace the retiring Judge Kenneth Corey in District Court Department number 1. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas. I'm a product of the Clark County public school system. I went briefly to college in northern Utah and got my degree in psychology. After returning from there, I worked for my family business for approximately 5 years, building custom homes and commercial swimming pools in the construction area. I've dug ditches, I've operated heavy machinery, framed houses, I've been hanging from rafters, the whole gambit. When the housing crisis occurred, it started affecting the homes we were building first, and that was approximately 2005, 2006. At that time, I decided to go and take the LSAT and try my hand at law school. I went to Boyd here locally. I received a scholarship to go there. While at Boyd, I became acquainted with the district attorney's office and served an internship here. Worked a little bit on the O.J. Simpson robbery trial during that time period. And after that, I was lucky enough to get hired on as a law clerk. As a law clerk, I worked in criminal appeals, writing appeals, responses to appeals, writs of habeas corpus, the Supreme Court, that sort of thing. I've authored well over 40 appeals. I've authored well over 50 writs of habeas corpus while I was in appellate. I was hired on as a deputy district attorney in 2010. I've tried 35 jury trials, 2 verdicts, and then another handful, 5 to 10, that either dealt out halfway through or didn't make it all the way through. So for the past 11 years, I've been a criminal prosecutor with the district attorney's office here. I'm currently a chief deputy district attorney. I've prosecuted thousands of cases during my time in the office, everything from DUIs to capital murder. I also spent time on our special victims unit, which Judge Herndon discussed, prosecuting sex crimes perpetrated against the most vulnerable in our community. During my time on SVU, I was the founding chief of our Sexual Assault Kit Initiative Unit, SAKI unit for short. The unit was started with federal funds earmarked to address the thousands of untested rape kits across the country. The goal of the unit was to first test all of the untested rape kits. We had 7,000 plus here in Nevada. And then second, to develop suspects and prosecute those cases that arise from the DNA obtained from these kits. I worked closely with Metro and the forensic lab to bring many criminals who would have otherwise gone unprosecuted to justice as a result of testing these previously untested kits for DNA. As a prosecutor, I do my best to keep my victims informed regarding decisions I am making, how it will affect both them and the person that victimized them. I think too often victims are looked past when it comes to criminal justice. I hope to turn the focus back to victims of crime if elected as judge. I'm endorsed by every major law enforcement organization in Clark County. I've recently received the national endorsement, one of only 40 candidates to receive the endorsement for Police PAC out of Pennsylvania. It's a group of retired police officers who are supporting law enforcement friendly candidates across the nation. If you'd like to learn more about me, my website is www.villani4judge.com, www.villani4judge.com. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Jacob. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, there's some questions coming in. By the way, some questions you might want to submit anonymously. I realize that as we're going along. So if you'd like to do that, make sure you privately message Soul or Pam Jones. You can find them privately, or you can message myself as well privately if you just don't happen to want to submit a question anonymously. But we will get to those questions at the very end. Please do remember to do that. So we'll get our next candidate for District Court Department 1 is Bita Yeager, and so we will call her up here. And all right, welcome, Judge Yeager. Go ahead, and we'll give you your time to start now.
All right, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about my candidacy in this forum. My name is Bita Yeager. I'm running for District Court in Department 1. So I moved here to Las Vegas 26 years ago, 3 days right after graduating from law school at J. Reuben Clark. And I clerked for 3 different district court judges. I started out as a law clerk with Judge Lee Gates. Then I clerked for Judge Adelia. And then after that, I clerked for Judge Stephen Huffaker. After my clerkship, I took on a job over at the Clark County Public Defender's Office, where I was a trial attorney and team chief for almost 2 decades. So I was in court every day. I wrote my own appeals. I argued numerous times before the Nevada Supreme Court. I tried over 50 jury trials and hundreds of bench trials. So I'm very well versed in our courtrooms and appearing in court and what the judges need to do as far as making decisions. And I also wanted to say that, while I was in the public defender's office, I also went above and beyond my day-to-day job. I looked at ways to find long-term solutions to criminal reduction or crime reduction. I started the North Las Vegas Community Court, so that way people could be assessed to figure out what was causing their criminal behavior and then link to the services that they needed to address that criminal behavior and be held accountable to participate in that. So, whether it's substance use addiction or mental health issues or homelessness or job health, that was part of the sentence that was given in North Las Vegas. After I was in the public defender's office, I was actually selected as a judge in Las Vegas Justice Court, where I was actually given an entire civil department. So I was overseeing the civil cases in Justice Court. So those cases that are $10,000 and under, all sorts of, bench trials that I did, even jury trials. And it was a really rewarding experience. While I was there, even I still kept my toe in the criminal area. I also co-wrote and received a grant for a Las Vegas community court. So that's for people that are in that strip corridor area, so that they could also be connected to the services and held accountable to participate in those services. After I was a judge in Las Vegas Justice Court, I was selected as the first specialty court hearing master for our district court. So right now I handle our mental health cases, both on the civil side and the criminal side. I co-wrote and obtained a grant for our mental health court to get gender responsive risk assessments done, and also to get trauma treatment for the participants. I also started the co-occurring disorders court when I saw that there was a need and a gap in services. And for our civil commitments, I was tasked with bringing the court and the hospitals into compliance with our statutes. And so that's what I've been working on. So we could ensure that our community members in mental health crisis could be given access to treatment without compromising their constitutional due process rights. I'm on a statewide mental health crisis committee. I'm also an adjunct professor at the Boyd School of Law. So I'm the only candidate with judicial experience in the race. I've got 26 years of experience in both criminal and civil law. I'm passionate about fairness and access to justice, and I have community-wide support from first responders, veterans, and working families. So I would appreciate your support and your vote if you.
All right, that is our time there. Thank you so much, Bita, for that. Appreciate you. We'll go ahead again. If there are any questions, please do leave them down in the chat there for us. We'll make sure to get to those at the very end. And next up is District Court Department 2. So first up for that department is Carli Kierny. Carli will pull you up here, and welcome. Thank you for coming. And we'll go ahead and get you started. Go ahead and start now.
Thanks, Alexis. Thanks, guys, for having me. I grew up as a daughter of 2 public school teachers, and so having them as role models instilled in me a love of learning and a commitment to public service. One of my earliest memories is my mom going back to school to get her master's when I was 5, and she would read me her biology textbooks, and she would often fall asleep before I did. I'm sure she felt conflicted having to take on all those roles, but she absolutely set a great example for me on the value of hard work and dedication. I went to law school at Chicago Kent on a scholarship. My property professor there was Dean Hamilton at the time. He was a professor, now the dean of UNLV. While there, I worked at the law clinic, and one of the first cases I actually got to see was an actual innocence case, where a man named Herb Whitlock had done 26 years in prison for a crime that he absolutely did not commit. And I was there in that small courtroom in Paris when he walked out of the prison for the first time and got to hug his daughter. It drove home the importance of how important these of what these courts are doing, because Herb was there because of bad rulings, hidden evidence, lying witnesses, and really bad lawyering. So that really instilled in me the importance of what we were doing as criminal defense attorneys. And I decided that's what I wanted to dedicate my career to. I kind of used law school as an apprenticeship after that and managed to jump on some trials. And I actually got to try 3 murder trials before I even graduated. I then served as an appellate law clerk for the Honorable Margaret O'Meara Frassard. I read transcripts, reviewed claims of error, made recommendations to her, and I really learned the importance of making a good, clear record. I worked as a public defender in Illinois for some years before coming to Las Vegas to be closer to family, which has been amazing as my kids grow up. You know, it's great to have them play with their cousins and go to their great grandma's 90th birthday like we did last weekend. Things like that are wonderful. As a public defender here in Las Vegas, I appear in court every day. I have extensive trial experience, 41 bench and jury trials. 27 of those were tried to a jury. Everything from low-level theft to complicated week-long homicide trials. Of the trials that I've not won, I've finished second on, I've been successful on appeal on 7 of them, and I've gotten reversals from the Nevada Supreme Court, including a published opinion on the test for admitting an expert witness and a case clarifying structural error that's also published. As a practitioner, I find it frustrating when judges make rulings that tie your hands and really don't allow you to present the theory of the case or pick the jury that you want. And a lot of times it seems sometimes like I'm arguing straight to the appellate court and not even the jury. So one of my goals is to try to let lawyers try their cases if I'm elected to be judge. We have a tremendous backlog of criminal cases due to COVID, and I'm ready to use that extensive trial experience to jump in and start trying those. So hopefully we can get your civil cases going at some point too, guys. I've also seen the other side of things as a volunteer victim advocate for SafeNest through their PS 417 program, which dispatches volunteers to the scene of domestic violence incidents so we can provide resources immediately while they're still under the trauma of what they've gone through. I do have endorsements of the court marshals who appear in court every day and know what makes a good judge, SEIU, who staffs the courtrooms, as well as multiple other things. Culinary, AFL-CIO, IATSE, CCEA, the Review Journal, Latin Chamber. I'll drop my website in the comments so that you guys can check it out. I'm sure I've forgotten some. I want to thank you, everybody, so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to other attorneys, and for Alexander for recording this and broadcasting it to get the messages of every candidate out there. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Carly. We appreciate you very much for coming. All right, next up for District Court Department 2 is Richard Scotti, who is here as well. And welcome, Richard. Thank you for coming. And we'll go ahead and get you started right now.
Thank you to Samoa, and thank you to our Nevada judges for hosting this forum and allowing me to talk to your members. I really appreciate that opportunity. It's been a great honor to have served as your district court judge for the last 6 years. I've practiced law here in Clark County now for 30 years. I've held the Martindale-Hubbell Preeminent Rating since 2012. I've been married 34 years. I have 2 grown children. Many of you know me. Many of you have appeared in my court. You know that my goal coming into court every single day is to do the best job I can to make sure people walk away believing justice was served. I want you to know that when you come into my court, you're getting a judge who cares, a judge who has compassion, a judge who's going to study and follow the law, a judge who treats everybody with respect, a judge who believes that every single case in front of me is the most important case at that point in time, because it is. It's important to me, it's important to you, it's important to your client. Recently, there has been discussion about something I did 3.5 years ago. And yes, for about 30 seconds, I did get angry at a juror because I thought that the juror was denying a defendant a fair trial. But people that know me, if you know me, if you've appeared in my court, you know that in my entire career, I've dedicated myself to promoting civility and accountability in the legal profession. When I first moved here in 1992, one of the very first things that I did is join the Clark County Bar Association Professionalism Committee. And I worked on finishing up the Lawyer's Pledge of Professionalism and then disseminating it and promoting it. I'm proud to have a framed copy on the wall in my courtroom. I hand it out on occasion to new admittees. Several years after that, I worked with Chief Justice Cherry before he was a judge on the Client Security Fund Committee, helping clients restore their views of lawyers by resolving disputes with lawyers that have treated them unfairly. Then for 10 years, I was on the State Bar Fee Dispute Committee, and the Nevada Supreme Court appointed me as a Supreme Court settlement judge, where I help promote the legal profession and resolve disputes between clients. Then I had an appointment from you. Thank you very much. I was elected twice to serve as a governor of the State Bar Board of Governors. One of the things I was honored to do there is the president of the board appointed me to serve as chairman of the State Civility Committee. And in that capacity, I helped draft and sponsor the language that is used now for new admittees pledging their civility and professionalism to court staff and to the public and to each other. So I'm really proud of my efforts there to promote the professionalism and civility in our community. A little bit more about me. What matters, I have tons and tons of endorsements. What matters to me though is what you think of me. I want you to be convinced that I'm the right judge for you. Getting to where I am now has not been easy for me. I grew up really poor, Carson and Inglewood, California. I had to struggle to work since I was about 12. Hard jobs from janitor to being a painter, being a delivery driver. When I get into college, I worked my way through college in part by working at McDonald's. When I got into law school, I was working in the law library. I was a teaching assistant. Actually, I got the highest grade ever in criminal law and was a teaching assistant. One of my students was actually Kamala Harris. So I like to think I did a really good job as a teaching assistant there. So For 30 years now, I've worked, I struggled, I have the wherewithal, I have the experience, I handle all types of cases. We have a wide array of cases that come in front of us. So I've handled cases that have been as short as one day to, I was one of the lead attorneys on the largest civil jury trial in the history of Nevada, Venetian lien litigation. I see Jori Spangler is there, she worked on that case. I've worked on cases as small as a misdemeanor to as large as felony murder case. I have worked on cases as small as $10,000 up to $1 billion. I'm prepared, I'm ready, I love my job, I have the passion to serve. I give you my pledge that I'll work as hard as I can for justice and utmost due process. Accountability.
Perfect. That was great. Last 30 seconds. Thank you so much again. I apologize for that little technical difficulty there. Appreciate your patience. This is our first time, everyone. Thank you all again for coming and being part of our event today. We appreciate you. So next up, of course, is Department 3, District Court Department 3. First up on that, we have Adam Ganz there. Adam Ganz, welcome, Adam. We'll go ahead and let me get my timer started up again. You can go ahead and start your time now.
Thank you, Snawa, for having us and doing this forum. My name is Adam Ganz, and I'm running for District Court Department 3. I would like to tell you a couple quick stories about what I will look like as a judge and what equality has meant to me throughout my career. Hopefully you can hear me. I just heard my landscapers coming, so hopefully we can get through this and it won't be too bad. But I'm in my volunteer work in the community, specifically work with kids from all different backgrounds and cultures when coaching either youth soccer or water polo or volleyball or little league baseball, or even volunteering as a CAP attorney. It has made me so conscious of the differences in people's backgrounds. Meanwhile, while on the field, all are the same, just like they are and they should be in court, leaving their home life and their families on the sidelines. And I would tell my volleyball team, this is your safe place. This is where we build people up and not break them down. And that is how you are going to be a successful team. And it's that equality that would sometimes run afoul of parents and coaches, believe it or not, where they have a win at all cost mentality, because everyone played on my teams and everyone was equal. And we worked to make each other a better team. And just recently, I received a plaque from one of the young ladies on a couple of my volleyball teams that said, a good coach can change a game, but great coaches can change a life. And getting this plaque told me that this young lady got it. She got what I was trying to do, and it worked. And in my legal career, my partner, Marjorie Hoff, and I have been equal partners for more than 15 years now in an area of law, complex civil litigation, where you rarely see a woman as a named partner. She has been the perfect person to champion my belief that women in the legal community must be equal. And we have done that for more than 15 years now. With Marjorie running our practice, we also have 95% of the people who work with us, as either a female or minority or both, with Asian Americans, Latinos, or African Americans. And as you know, Marjorie is a powerful presence within the women's legal community and has been on your board of directors for many years now. As your judge, I will expect and I will ensure equality for everyone in my courtroom, just like the teams I coached and the practice we started, not just one day of the year on August 26th when we celebrate women's equality, but every day like I have my entire life and my entire legal career. And the only way to do that is to ensure an open and equal and fair process for all. And my opponent is speaking next. She's a formidable opponent. I've said this a few times. She's bright, she's energetic, and she's committed to Nevada ever since she moved here a few years ago after she graduated law school. But it's my experience fighting and working with people of our community that I have lived in for nearly my entire life that makes me the best candidate in this race. And I've tried over 50 jury trials in my 22 plus year career. And if someone tells you that trial experience is not important when picking a judge, you tell them that this is a trial court position. I have litigated thousands of cases in our district courts over the years in hundreds of different areas of civil law. I have worked on complex litigation from street designs to medical negligence cases to helicopter design and defects, taking on billion-dollar corporations with public safety my #1 priority all the time. I have had published opinions in the Nevada Supreme Court, including a recent successful appeal limiting qualified immunity of police officers. I have argued in front of the Nevada Appeals Court, Nevada Supreme Court, Arizona Appeals Court, Arizona Supreme Court, and also the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. And I have been a justice of the peace pro tem, hearing mostly criminal matters in justice court, although justice court obviously is different, and my practice is almost entirely related to district court level. So not only am I in court all the time, but I have done thousands of depositions in 3 countries and just about every state in the United States. I'm AV rated, and I have been an arbitrator for over 10 years, and I sit currently as a short trial judge pro tem currently. The simple truth is, Being a judge should not be something you do as a stepping stone to building a career. It's a cornerstone. And the reason is because you learn from your experiences, and that's why I'm the best candidate for this race. Thank you very much again for having me, and hope everyone stays safe.
That was right on time. Thank you, Adam, for all of that. Where's my line here? Technical difficulties. All right, Monica Trujillo is up next. She is our second candidate for District Court Department 3. We're going to spotlight her video. Hi there, Monica. Welcome. And we will go ahead and start your time now.
Thank you so much. Thank you to SNAWA. I appreciate you having us. My name is Monica Trujillo, and I'm running for District Court Judge Department 3, and I believe I'm the best candidate for this position for many reasons. First of all, I have been a public defender here for, well, my opponent says few years. It's been over a decade, going on 12 years. I'm committed to this community. I have a demonstrated commitment to public service. I started my career in 2008 at the Public Defender's Office, where I handled cases from misdemeanors to felonies through all phases of the criminal justice process. During that time, I was in court almost daily, handling calendars that our district court judges manage every day. And what it means to handle a calendar to attorneys who only go in just once or for one or two cases. It means that you're there before everyone gets to court. It means that you're managing multiple cases, multiple defendants. It means that you are a community, you're responsible for your community. You're answering questions of private attorneys. You're a friend of the court if the court needs help. You're there until that last case is called. So I know what it takes to manage a high caseload, to be prepared, efficient, and thoughtful. Now, for the last going on 8 years, I've exclusively handled homicide cases. I am now with the Special Public Defender's Office. So in addition to my jury trial experience, my extensive courtroom experience handling all types of hearings, and even in justice court preliminary hearings, which essentially are mini trials where you have a judge, a neutral fact finder, making a decision, you're making arguments, you're questioning witnesses, and you're getting decisions on those rulings. I also have experience as a capital defender. That means when a person is charged with murder and they're facing the death penalty, I am qualified under Supreme Court Rule 250 to serve as a lead defense attorney in those cases. And not only in death penalty cases, but when a person is facing a homicide charge, part of my job is to extensively investigate their background. I have to go back in death penalty cases 3 generations. That means I have to travel to where any significant person or place in that person's life, to find out what happened there. What did they do? All of their contacts. I also previously, to Marcy's Law, had to speak to victims' families, to victims. All aspects of an investigation of a case I participated in. And in doing that, I am able to view all sides, and I respect what the criminal justice system is. And I don't have civil experience, but here's why I'm confident in my abilities to not only research the area, to seek a mentor if I'm elected as judge, and to ask questions from experts, because as a capital defender, that is all I do. I am required to become an expert in many areas to present my case to a jury. And even if the case doesn't go to jury trial, I have to do that in preparation and in anticipation that it is going. For example, in one murder case that I had a neuropathologist, a neuropsychologist, and neuroradiologist just to prove one fact. That case ended up negotiating, but my point is, I am able to research areas, consult with experts, and become knowledgeable. So I'm confident in my abilities, should this department turn civil, to preside over civil matters. Additionally, as I mentioned, I have a demonstrated commitment to public service. I bring a diverse perspective. And the reason I'm running for judge is because I believe judges can make decisions while showing compassion. I think there needs to be a little more professionalism, a little more preparation, and I believe I'm that person for that job. I saw a problem, I see the need for change, and I know I can make a difference. That is why I'm running for judge. And even though I've only been here since 2008, I am honored that I have received over 15 endorsements from different unions, from different organizations.
All right, that's our time. Thank you so much, Monica, for that. We appreciate you very much for being here. All right, our next department is Department 4. We're working on our last department for the day here. First up on that one is Phil Aurbach, and Philip Aurbach is present here today with us. We'll spot his video. Welcome, Mr. Aurbach. Go ahead and get your time started right now.
Thank you for allowing me to tell a little bit about myself on this kind of somber day, October 1st. I'm reminded of these horrible shootings that occurred in 2017 because one of our staff made it out of that event safely. To talk about me now, I've lived in Las Vegas since I was 2. My dad was a casino dealer, and he taught me the meaning of hard work at an early age. I had a paper route at age 14. I got up at 3:30 every morning and delivered my papers. My dad made me go out for sports during high school because he didn't want me sitting around the house fearing what would happen with idle hands. I liked tennis the best, but I didn't make the freshman team. My coach said, we've got 13 on the squad, we're cutting it down to 12, and you're number 13. So I went to a local tennis pro and negotiated lessons in exchange for washing tennis courts and stringing rackets. 3 years later, I took second in doubles, the Nevada State Tennis Tournament. High school tennis tournament. I got a tennis scholarship that got me through college, and student loans got me through law school. I started my legal career in the district attorney's office, and in 1988, I started my own law firm with Al Marquis. Over the next 32 years, my law firm went from 5 attorneys to over 40. Some of the secretaries and staff have worked for the firm for 20 to 30 years. Here's the thing. District court judges handle the most important and complex cases in Nevada. I've practiced law in the district court almost twice as long as most other candidates, not all. I've done over 35 district court civil trials and 10 appeals, more civil trials than most other candidates. I've done over 80 binding arbitrations where attorneys picked me to be their judge on large cases like would otherwise be handled by the district court, not the small non-binding arbitrations. When I got out of law school, there were 6 judges in Clark County. Now there's almost 60. So I've seen judges come and go, some good ones and some bad ones. And the real difference is their trial experience. We need district judges with real trial experience in torts as well as business cases like contracts, real estate, construction, and employment law. For 30 years, I've lectured and written articles on the law for new attorneys to make them better. I've been endorsed by the Review Journal, the Las Vegas Sun, the Latin Chamber of Commerce, the Culinary Union, the Firefighters Union, former Governor Sandoval, former Governor Richard Bryan, just to mention a few, and I'm getting more and more endorsements daily. I want to use my experience and skills to give back to our community as a judge by helping cases move through the system efficiently, economically, and fairly to all. So I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. All right, last but certainly not least in our race for today is Nadia Krall. Here, welcome, Nadia. All right, Nadia, we'll go. And again, if there are anyone who has any questions, please do make sure to send them, put them down in the chat. You can send them privately to myself, to D. Soul, or to Pamela Jones if you have any questions for any of our candidates today. All right, Nadia, go ahead and we'll get you started now.
Thank you, SNAWA. I really appreciate the opportunity. I am a member of SNAWA. I have been for many years. I'm a board member as well. I am also the former membership director, and my main role in SNAWA is doing the evening events that we had before COVID-19 happened. And we've been able to do some Zoom happy hours, which people have liked to stay connected. I believe in community service, and that is one of the reasons why I'm running. I also believe that the law should be applied evenly and fairly. One of the main issues in the law is that women sometimes are discriminated against. They're not treated the same. Men are viewed somewhat better sometimes versus women. And, you know, as Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, that women should be at the table where decisions are being made. And so I'm the only female running in this race. And I believe that for a women's organization, I will treat women fairly, whether they're litigants in the case or where they're attorneys. And I will make sure that the law is followed, and I'm not going to discriminate. I have judicial experience. I was a judge in small claims court for 4 years, where most of the people couldn't afford an attorney, but I still was patient and thorough. And one of the things that you deserve in a judge is someone who's going to work hard for you and is going to be fully prepared when you walk into that courtroom and you know that the judge has read everything. But not only that, that when you want to do oral argument, you're going to have the time and ability to do so, and that I will be open to listening to new evidence if anything new has come up from the time that the pleadings were submitted. But at the end of the day, you're going to be treated with respect, no matter your gender or your sexual orientation or your skin color.
All right, well, that is all of our candidates for today, and we appreciate you. Let's go to our Pam Jones. Did you get any questions privately?
No, I did
No
not.
questions privately. All right. Are there any questions? There was one question that came in from Jori Spangler. I did see that asked Jacob Villani a question. The question was, is Department 1 civil and criminal? If so, what is your civil background? So we will give you 90 seconds to respond to that question. And I will go ahead and start that now.
Thank you. And so like I answered in the chat, the particular assignment of the courts is determined by the chief judge. It's currently a civil department. Judge Corey has been criminal and civil at some point, actually. I interned with him while he had a criminal calendar as well. I expect no matter who wins the Department 1 race, that it's going to go criminal civil based upon both of our criminal backgrounds. I did clerk for Alverson, Taylor, Mortons, and Sanders for my third year of law school. I was working there 3 days a week. I was given an offer. I decided to come to the DA's office instead. I gained civil experience there, but look, as a practicing trial attorney, every day I research areas of law and fact that I'm unfamiliar with. I have to interview experts in various areas to educate myself, be able to make coherent arguments. I imagine that's going to translate quite nicely over into the civil realm, where I'll bring the same studiousness and the knowledge that I've gained in researching different areas of law into the civil realm. And I don't see it as being a problem for me.
Great, thanks, Jacob. It looks like there were also a couple of questions that came in to D. Salt, so we'll go ahead and let D. Who is your first question to?
This is to all the candidates. What are the most important qualities a judge should exude and why?
Anybody would like to hear that answer from, please put it in the chat box and we can call them up. Are there other questions that you got, B?
I have one specific question and it's for Mr. Ganz. Can you describe your criminal experience, if any, and if none, how do you ensure equality under the law?
All right, Adam, so you heard that question and we will give you 90 seconds to answer starting now.
That's a good question. Thank you. First, in the private arena, our firm has done some criminal experience over the years, and we've had attorneys that we have employed that have done specifically criminal law work over the years, and I've supervised those employees. In addition, I've also acted as a justice of the peace pro tem in justice court, and mainly doing criminal domestic violence matters over the years as well. And so from that standpoint, that's what I have as far as criminal experience goes. First, this department may, if I were to be elected, more likely would be a full civil department, I would imagine. But in addition, it's my experience and my trial experience that I have. I have nearly 6 times as much trial experience as my opponent, and my trial experience will give me the opportunity to be able to pivot and be able to work with a criminal calendar as well, not only from my background, but also from the number of trials I've done, the evidentiary hearings that I've done, and so on and so forth. Okay, so
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Adam. We appreciate that so much. So it looks like there was a question about becoming 250 qualified. So Monica, we'll put you on and we'll give you 90 seconds to answer this particular question. So the question is, there's a little bit, how do you become 250 qualified? How many judges are 250 qualified in Clark County, if you know, and do we have any 250 qualified judges on the bench now? So let me just give you your time, starting right now, 90 seconds starting now.
Thank you. So as of now, there are, to my knowledge, no 250 qualified judges, and that is because 250 qualified is a defense perspective. So while there are prosecutors or former prosecutors who have criminal law experience who are judges and have tried death penalty cases, the 250 rule is for defense attorneys. So there are none. If elected, I would be the only one with that perspective, which is one of the reasons I say I would bring a diverse perspective in addition to the criminal defense practice, the death penalty practice as well. And to be 250 qualified, you have to have had 5 felony trials, have been a practicing attorney for, I believe it's 5 years, sat through a capital case through complete verdict, which means the first portion, a guilt phase trial phase, and a second portion, the penalty phase, where the jury either imposes a life sentence or a death verdict.
A question coming in, it looks like, about for the female candidates. Also, it looks like we do have another candidate who is qualified to speak a little bit on the 250 process as well. So Judge Herndon will give you, just because this isn't really directed to you, but we do want our viewers to know, I would like to know more about the 250 process. So why don't you we'll give you 60 seconds, Judge Herndon, to explain the 250 process. Go ahead and start now.
Sure. I think I actually qualified, Monica. So I have a little familiarity with it, particularly when I was the chief judge over the criminal division for a while. In addition to the statutory requirements, which a lot of cases resolve, so people can handle and be incredibly adept at handling capital murder cases, but they just don't go through trial or all the way through a penalty hearing. So there's a mechanism that allows a judge, and I've only done it on 4 occasions, I believe, to go through and evaluate the record of a potential person that's applying to be 250 qualified, review all their trial work, their work inside your courtroom, consult with other judges about work in those other places, and then author an opinion that they're qualified, and then they can begin handling capital murder cases in a first chair basis. So I think I did that several years ago with Monica and a couple of other attorneys in town as well.
Fantastic. That was your 60 seconds. Thank you so much, Judge, for explaining to us a little bit more about that. So we have a question, and this is an important one that I think we will, because not all of the candidates are left here, but it is a question, especially as our organization is going, and we'll do this as a 60-second thing for each of you. But the question to each of our candidates is this. What have you personally done to help increase the number of women joining the legal profession or advancing in the legal field? So we'll go ahead and start. I believe that Ozzie Fumo had to leave. Obviously, Judge Herndon, you are still here with us and you are spotlighted. So let me go ahead and give you 60 seconds. Again, the question is, what have you done to increase the number of women joining the legal field and advancing women in the legal profession? Go ahead with your 60 seconds now.
Thank you. So I ended up becoming the head of the special victims unit in the DA's office because I handled a particular rape case early in my career that affected me greatly. And I became involved in the Rape Crisis Center, the special victims unit, and trying to do things to promote safety of women. And then as I became a father to only daughters, I became more attuned to what I perceived as a lack of women in the legal community. And then when I took the bench, a lack of women on the bench. So over the years, I've tried very hard to get lots of our friends' daughters into the courtroom, whether they were in high school or college, to learn about the legal system. The same way with kind of trying to make sure a lot of women get involved in coming into the courtroom from the law school to view criminal calendars. And then I assisted Judge Yeager when she got appointed to Justice Court, Judge Jones to District Court, Judge Bluth to District Court. And I have recruited female criminal defense attorneys for years.
Sorry to interrupt you, Judge. We just want to make sure we get everyone on there. Let's see. So, Judge Bulla, what have you personally done to help increase the number of women joining the legal field, joining the legal profession, or advancing women in the legal field? And your 60 seconds will start right now.
Thank you so much for the question. I have really tried to be a good mentor over my 33 years in practice, and particularly the last few years, well, more like nearly 14 years, that I've served as a decision maker on the bench. I work with my law clerks and my staff lawyers and mentor and to help them feel confident in what they do. I've been active in the NEDA deposition program, as well as working with externs from the law school. It's very important to me that I mentor not just women though, but all young lawyers in the field so that they become competent in what they do.
Thank you so much, Judge Bulla, for your response on that. Jacob, same question for you. What have you personally done in the last 5 years to help increase the number of women joining the legal profession or advancing women in the legal field? Go ahead and start right now.
Sure. So during my time with the Saki unit, I obviously worked closely with the Rape Crisis Center as well. As far as advancing women in the legal profession, our office has been hiring a majority of women in the past few classes. I participate in the training and the hiring program here in the office. I've taken many of these new hires under my wing and acted as a mentor, kind of showed them the ropes of prosecution. I'm here as an assistant team chief on the team I'm currently on. And the newer deputies and female deputies as well come to me with questions, and we work through cases. They come to me when they have trials coming up. I've tried cases with numerous female attorneys, and I do my best to help put them on the best footing in this office.
Thank you, Jacob. We appreciate that. All right, there you go. Bita, go ahead and you can start your 60 seconds now.
So as a team chief in the public defender's office, and even before that, I was actually on the hiring committee. So I always wanted to make sure that we would hire qualified women for the office and make sure that my colleagues that were helping were not discriminating because of the basis of sex. I was also a tip mentor for years with the state bar, and currently as an adjunct professor with externships, I always help and encourage our law students and help mentor them. Even after the externship is done, since I'm the counselor, I say, if you ever need any help with something and need some advice, please, my door is always open. So I'm always encouraging of women to participate and chase that part of the profession that they really want to engage in.
Thank you, Bita. It looks like Carli had to step off, but we do still have Richard Scotti here to answer this question for us. All right, so same question for you. What have you done personally in the last 5 years to advance women joining the legal field and advance their careers in the legal profession? Go ahead and start now.
Well, when I was one of the governors of the State Bar Board of Governor, that might be a few years further than 5, but we commissioned studies to look into the demographics of the members and use that information in order to put on diversity courses at our annual meetings. Also, for several years, the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've spoken to elementary school kids, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grades about constitutional law, civics, and our legal system. I try to instill with them a better understanding of how the legal system works, the different types of positions that are available. I help them to feel the passion of the law, to get everybody, regardless of sex, race, economic condition, get them all motivated into the law. Project Real, I've allowed them to come into my court and do mock courts, and I try to make everybody feel very comfortable.
Thank you so much for that. Adam Ganz here will put your video on. All right, Mr. Ganz, if you could tell us what you have done in the last 5 years to advance women in the legal profession, joining the profession, and advancing their careers. Go ahead and start with your answer now.
And thank you, I appreciate that. And I kind of touched on a little bit in my opening 4 minutes where I said that, I partnered with a very powerful woman who's done amazing things within our community. And when we were at our prior firm and getting ready to leave, it was a no-brainer to open up the firm with Marjorie. The reason was because we were at a firm where there had never been a named female partner in that firm. And we left that old firm because of that. In addition, I've also worked within the community in various different sports and mentoring youth young women in this community as well. And then lastly, I've had numerous law clerks come through my my practice, and I've mentored those young women who are just trying cases. I'll second chair cases just so they can have the opportunity to do that in some instances.
Sorry, Adam, to cut you off there. That's our 60 seconds. Thank you so much for that. Monica Trujillo will be our next candidate to speak on what she has done in the last 5 years to advance women in the legal profession and encourage women to join the legal profession. You can go ahead and start your answer now.
Thank you, Alexis. So I've also mentored young women coming up as law clerks and young attorneys when I was at the public defender's office, also at the special public defender's office when we've had interns or externs. I've helped them kind of learn about the process, especially as it relates to homicide cases. I've had people sit in with on jury trials with me to get that experience. And also what a lot of people don't touch on, and what I think is important, is that I establish a sense of camaraderie with other women in the field, especially in the criminal defense bar. It's a little hard for us to gain respect in an easy manner. So we provide each other, I should say, with compassion, with a safe haven to commiserate. You know, when I started off in my position, it took a while to earn the respect of the homicide prosecutors. And I wasn't treated very nicely. So people provided a safe haven for me, and I do that in return. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Appreciate that. Our next, we're up at Department 4 now, and here, Mr. Aurbach is still present. We'll go ahead and spotlight him. Thank you, Mr. Aurbach. So same question for you. What have you personally done in the last 5 years to encourage women to join the legal profession and advance the careers of women in the legal profession? Go ahead and start your response now.
Thank you. When I was when the firm was formed, I was on the hiring committee, and then I made sure that the people on the hiring committee looked at a diverse spectrum of people, including women, that were to be candidates for hiring at the firm. Also, I've mentored 20 to 30, maybe more women that have been that have graduated from our law firm and started on their own. So that's how I've helped women in the legal profession.
Perfect. Thank you for that. None. All right. So it looks like we got through all of our questions, which is fantastic. So the last thing we have for everyone to do before we close out, we have a poll for you guys. So we would love to know, and I think our candidates would probably like to know who it is that you guys might vote for. So we're going to go ahead and put up a poll here for about 30 seconds. And you guys can vote for, and they should be multiple choice. It is anonymous. Yes, it is anonymous. Yes, yes.
There was a little problem with mine.
Okay, the poll may be messed up. You know, this is, again, our first time, you guys. We apologize. Looks like we've gotten a couple of responses. Oh, it's the first one. I forgot to select multiple choice. That's my apologies on that. Well, at least we'll get some data for the second half of those. The second one, it looks like, was at least correct. So you can put in your votes, one vote at least in the first ones, and more votes in the other ones. So we appreciate you guys very much participating in this. We'll wait just a couple more seconds for that poll to run in. All right, you guys. Well, I will. What else do we have? I think that is basically it. We want to again thank you everyone so much for coming, for participating with us. We had a great time. The candidates were great for us. Thank you so much. We'll put our president up here just for the end here. If you can make it to our events, please do. Again, we've got all of our candidate forums coming up each week. And then we have our Miriam Shearing Gala on November 17th as well, that you can come in and all of that. So we appreciate, again, everyone coming in for us. Again, thank you so much to our Nevada judges. They have been helping us so much today. Making sure that we're broadcasting well and throwing up lovely things if you're watching on YouTube. And I can't wait to see what that looks like on the backside for us. So thanks again to our sponsors, Nevada State Bank, Northwestern Mutual, Worldwide Litigation, and the executives. Thank you to Jori very much for, even though you couldn't maybe present, thanks for being here. And thanks to all of our board members for being here. Jori, was there anything else? I think that's it. Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you guys, everyone, for coming. We appreciate you.